I'm Ryan, this is my brother Daniel, and this is Rolls in the Family. And Daniel, how you feeling this morning? It's a Friday morning.
Friday morning, a little sleepy, Ryan, a little relaxed,
sleepy. You know, I was gonna say, like, if you looked back at your last week, and had to pick a word to describe your week, would it be relaxed?
It would not be relaxed, Ryan.
Not be relaxed.
It would not.
Well, then, maybe it's a good time to talk about. We use board games for, escapism out of our
That's right.
our lives.
That's
to,
key.
to push it all out. Let's talk about what would be some great games if you need to just chill a little bit. You need
this
to
video
relax.
really well. Good job.
These are games that maybe just don't raise the blood pressure as much. You just kind of feel a little bit more relaxed playing, but still have a good time. And we'll have links to all these in the description below if that's what you need in your life.
I know. Yeah. If you need
this could be a life-changing
This could change your life.
someone.
Yeah. We had a key threshold of a certain heart rate, and the game has to keep
this
your
is
heart
all
rate.
objectively. We went and played all our games with heart rate monitors.
And we'll drop our metrics.
And you can't just play it once. That would
below.
not be a statistically
course.
meaningful sample size. So this video has been in the works for
10
years.
10 years in the making for this one.
That could not be further from the truth with the amount of time, particularly Daniel just put into his list.
Like I said, it was a stressful week.
In the comments below, you can leave what you think are some great relaxing games.
Yeah.
We can get some. The comments are like the extended list, right? Like if you're watching this video,
we don't play every game in the world.
We don't.
To some people's surprise.
Yeah.
So
I don't know if we lose our credibility now that we've said that.
Oh gosh, did people think that? Oh no,
I don't know. But the comments are really the extended list. You can go down there and get some good on topic recommendations from others.
Our commenters are way better than us. I'll say that.
Yes, really, there's just a platform to give them a platform.
Yes, that's right.
Yes. Let's jump into this thing. I'm very intrigued to see if we have any overlap here. We kind of just went at it with our own interpretations here.
We do, which is a risky endeavor. Okay, Ryan, my number 5, most relaxing game. Is that what we're saying here?
Yeah, it's like a combination of most relaxing, but you have to like the game.
Okay.
Yeah, like
I fell asleep
really relaxing, but you're like,
game. It was very relaxing. No.
Yeah.
My number 5. This game is the shortest game I own. Which maybe that plays into it.
Yeah.
But is
There's
one
not enough time to get stressed.
Yeah. But is one that just everyone at the table it's a little more interactive maybe than, sometimes relaxing games you sometimes think would lean more towards a solitaire experience. This one is fairly interactive in terms of what you're paying attention to, but plays quick and is super fun. This is going to go to Sequoia. I find this one it is very simple in that everyone is rolling a pair of dice, not a pair of dice, rolling 5 dice and making 2 pairs and deciding where with the 2 pairs you add the numbers together and you're going to place one of your little chips on those spaces. You've got a kind of a ring of the number options from 2 to 12 going all the way around, and everyone does that simultaneously. So everyone rolls, everyone then places, and then ultimately you're competing to try and whoever at the end of the game has the most chips on each one is going to win the first place token, and then whoever's second gets the second. What's interesting is those are randomized every game, kind of how much the first place token's worth, how much the second place is, which is a fun little thing there. But this one in terms of just relaxing, this is one that anyone can play. It is just I can teach it in a minute and we're up and running. And there's maybe that's part of the relaxing nature of it is there's not a lot of rules. There's just we are just rolling dice, and it's just this shared fun enjoyable experience at the table. There is, I guess, I will say the heart rate can go up a little bit depending at the end, when you're neck and neck with someone in an area, especially the when you get to the end of the round, if there's ties, you go into kind of a tiebreaker round. But again, just a delightful little game. Key to have ones that are short like this, and one that I find quite relaxing.
Yeah, that's a good. I like that pick, Daniel.
Okay.
And I think maybe also part of the reason it feels so relaxing is there's not a lot of like right answers to find. Like when you roll your dice, it's a little bit of a getting in other people's head of like where are other people going to go? Are they going to keep going after this? But because there isn't like a definitive right answer for you to like figure out, it doesn't feel like you need to like pour this brain power in or worry that you're maybe making a suboptimal move. You're kind of operating on vibes in this game. You're just kind of like,
it's all vibes.
Like, what do I want to go for? And like, what do I think other people aren't?
Yeah, I mean, and I like what you say there. It is a lot of like kind of the mind game of, like here, I'm going to expose my Sequoia strategy to the world. I am a really quick double down. Like I try to go hard on one early because then it intimidates people, and then they don't want to play on it. Because the worst thing you can do in this game is get in a fight with someone, because then you're just wasting chips. And even if you obviously if you don't win it, you're in a horrible shape. But even if you win it, you maybe used more chips than you needed to, or than was worth it. So yeah, I agree. You roll the dice and you kind of see your different options, and you're like, what am I feeling like going for right now? What kind of do I want to spread the wealth? Do I want to go hard on one?
The little dopamine hit when everybody reveals and you picked one that like other people didn't. And
I know. It is. Yeah. It's very, very enjoyable.
Makes you feel smart, even though it was like basically random. But we like to feel smart.
Yeah, I thought I was smart.
Yeah. Nice. My number 5 is a game that I have fully converted you on board to.
Oh, jeez.
Daniel's arc of opinion of this game has been, it's really firing up in the last year or two. But a game that just works really well with larger group, kind of still being strategy, but just being so kind of relaxed. Relaxed.
Really?
Look, that was organic that I chose that word. It's almost like we picked this topic.
Look at that.
This is going to be Seven Wonders Architects. And in Seven Wonders Architects, unlike its older sister, brother, parent, Seven Wonders. I don't know how we refer to the hierarchy of
that's a good
game
question.
sequels. But where Seven Wonders was strict card drafting, where you're picking at the same time as everybody else, this actually has turns, and on your turn it's always take one from the pile on your left, the pile on the right, or randomly from the deck. So the options on your left and right, but you don't know from the deck. And it's always such a just simple decision, but there's interest in it, like enough interest that like we don't get bored playing this game. And there's always the like, it could be like, this is pretty good, but it could be anything if I go from the deck. But it's a decision that is not going to, work up your, oh my gosh, like, am I doing the right strategy in this game? And it's kind of just feeding you that tactical decision once every time around the board. There's not a ton of like, better figure out my long-term strategy. It's here. It's like, okay, each time it comes back to me, I'll kind of evaluate which of these 3 should I get. And so I find that like when we play it with a larger group, and especially with people that aren't looking for more heavy thinking in their game, they're having a good time with it. There's enough interest in it, but it's just presented in such a bite-sized way every time it gets to your turn that I think it still ends up feeling pretty just laid back. So it makes my list.
Yeah, it it's interesting. I feel like with this whole list, it's kind of almost a skill of a game to walk that line of being relaxing but not boring.
Exactly. Like it's actually really hard. And I'll actually say this is a very hard list for me to put together because tension is one of my favorite things in games.
know.
Like, I mean, if you go look at our favorite games, I would not describe them as relaxing.
We actually use board games to increase stress in our life.
I don't get enough stress in my day-to-day life. So this was an interesting list, and I think it's getting me to talk about some games that maybe don't come up as much in some of our lists.
For sure. Which moves me to my number 4. This is a very new game to my collection. I have only played it 2-player, played it a few times, but in playing it, even though there is definitely, I think from my list here, definitely the heaviest of the ones on the list, not a super heavy game, but the heaviest one on the list. Again, just does in the process of playing it have a very relaxing feel. This is going to go to Forest Shuffle.
Interesting.
Yeah, so playing this one, it's very relaxing because, you're building out, you're placing these trees in front of you, and on your turn you got the really fun part about the game is that you're it's got a little bit of kind of what we love about like Race for the Galaxy, where to play a card, you pay other cards from your hand. But the twist is those cards go to a center, the center area, and you can also on your turn, instead of taking cards from the top of the deck, you could take cards that are face up, which that's a huge twist because now it's like I could actually use cards to pay for another card, but I could potentially get those cards back.
Yeah.
Which is just a really kind of interesting thing on that. And so I don't know, in playing it, there's not a lot of like, oh my gosh, like really, really, hard decision making.
Probably the hardest decision is when you need to pay with something that you want to play. Yeah. And you're kind of playing that game of, am I going to be able
Which, to be
get
fair,
it back?
I've only played in 2-player, and there's a lot higher chance you're going to get it back in a 2-player
You can
game.
control that a little more.
So I almost wonder if this would feel different at a, higher player count. If it would feel...
Probably a little more chaotic.
Yeah, a little more chaotic. And so, I don't know. It's one that the game is all about kind of comboing on things and stuff, which is very enjoyable. It's one of the most fun parts about it, is just getting your little ecosystem combos going. But there's so many options that you really never feel like, oh gosh, I can't do, I can't find something, good to kind of make happen here. And so, you're just constantly being fed with lots of options of cards, both, from the main area, or getting cards off the top. And so you have a lot of options, which means you're never going to have moments of stress of like, oh my gosh, I can't do anything. It's just kind of looking through and like, oh, and I got this, and and now I can do this. And then, so I find it just keeps you in that kind of positive comboing mode, which is a very relaxing, thing for me. There's not a lot of interaction outside of, watching what the other player's doing. And
because even if you don't want a card, you might be giving them the perfect thing for their combos,
which I guess is the counterpoint to what we just said about more stressful with more because more players, it's harder to pay attention to what everyone's doing, whereas 2-player, I'm watching what my wife's doing, and if I see a card come out there, I'm going to try to snag that thing so that she can't get it. So, or hold on, do kind of almost the Lost Cities thing of holding onto a card as much as possible to not let it go. So I don't know.
Lost Cities is not a game I would describe as relaxing.
Speaking of games
that one's great because that takes that element of like, holding cards and preventing to the extreme of that. It is like cutthroat with how you're holding. And
Lost Cities didn't make this list for me, Ryan.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I would have roasted you if you put Lost Cities on this list. I could see some people that are very experienced with Lost Cities like falling into a rhythm of it that they find it relaxing, but the core gameplay is pretty stressful.
It's my greatest fear in life, Ryan, is I'm going to come on with one of these lists and I'm just going to completely misinterpret, and you are just going to
I'm saving it. Me. You got to do it sparingly, but done sparingly. A good Daniel roast, I think, is good for the content on the channel.
Yeah, let us know down below. Comment down below. Would you appreciate a Daniel roast?
Like, is it happening enough on the channel, or do I need to bring it a little more?
Yeah.
Nice. My number, I guess the nature theme also is just like that. There's a lot of nature
that's a
theme
good
games
point.
now, but
that's
it is another thing that just kind of sets the
Yeah.
tone a little bit, which is a great segue. I'm just going to build my own segue into the next one, which is another kind of nature themed game. At the time when I got this game, it might have been the only game specifically about mushrooms. And my wife thought that was funny that there's was a modern board game that's like about foraging for mushrooms. Well, now I think in the last year, like 3 more have come out. Like there are, we could do our top 5 mushroom games, except we haven't played them. But somebody could. There's enough of
shroom
them.
games.
I kind of want to play them so that we can make that content. But this is the 2-player game Morels, and this is a very chill 2-player card game where you're collecting mushrooms to try to make sets of mushrooms that you can cook into a pan and get the points for those sets. And it's got kind of just a nice hand management thing of on your turn, You can take either of the next 2 cards in the I forget what they call it. It's like the path. If you've acquired sticks throughout the game, you can use those to reach. So like if I want to take the 4th card, I could spend 2 sticks to take it. So sticks give you a little bit more options. But then you're limited to how many cards you have in your hand. I think at the beginning of the game, it's 8. You can get these baskets that increase your hand size. But you're trying to build up these sets because for different mushroom types, you need a certain amount of them to be able to play them as a set. Or actually, no, it's always you need at least 3. So it's always at least 3, but the different mushroom types have different scoring values per card. So you need to get at least 3 of them, but then you also have to have a pan, which there's pan cards that come up. And so you get into these situations where like your hand is kind of filling up, but you have to decide like, oh, do I play this now or do I try to get more? Or another one of the things that like you can push to get is there's butter cards and cider cards that can get added to a set. Butter can only get added if the set I think has at least 4 cards, and cider can only get added if it has at least 5, but it adds a bunch of points. You kind of have this like you want to go for that big scoring, but it's kind of working within the constraints of your hand. But it all comes together in this way that is just really just has a nice rhythm, but there's nothing too crazy going on here. And it's honestly a game that I would have thought, even after playing it like the first or second time, I would have thought, okay, this is a game I'm probably going to play 10, 15 times, and I'm probably going to start getting a little tired of it because I feel like I've seen it's so simple. And this is where we've talked about it's so hard to find that balance between like simplicity and like not being boring or not like being really shallow. Because I've had games that it's like I enjoyed my first few plays of it, but I got to a point where it was like, okay, I don't need to experience this game anymore. I kind of for my taste, where I'm looking for maybe some more decisions. Morels has surprisingly had some staying power. My wife and I have played it over 20 times. And every time I play it, I'm just like, you know what? This has got some nice, just the hand management piece of it. And when do I do things? And I have 2. If you have 2 of a mushroom, you can 2 or more, I guess, technically, you can spend those to get sticks. And so it's this decision of like, okay, maybe I don't go to make a set that I'm going to cook with this. Maybe I trash it to free up some hand size, get some sticks that'll give me better reach. You know, you can see ahead 8 there's 8 cards out. So maybe I saw something come up that's really good, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna want to be able to reach for that here in a little bit. So there is enough here that has kept me interested, but it has really fit that niche of like my wife and I'll pull it out, and my wife is definitely someone who's gonna gravitate more towards the relaxing, lighter games. And we just always have a good time playing it. And it's nice and quick and easy. So I'm glad Morels. I don't know that I've mentioned it on the channel. I'm glad that it gets a mention here.
I still just loved your self-built Segway that you did.
I should do that more often.
Is it even a Segway if you build it yourself? Is that?
I mean, I my self-built Segway did segue off your thing, so it was like a chain
you
link.
extended the Segway.
I needed another building block to complete the Segway.
Very nice, Ryan. Very nice. Okay, Ryan. My number 3. We both own this game, and this is one that like I've even had like considerations of like, do I still want to own it? I don't know. But I always keep it around because it is just so simple, and the gameplay, despite being so simple, just has some really enjoyable aspects to it. This goes to King Domino. This is a very relaxing game. In the game it's very simple. You're drafting these little tiles that are basically 2 terrain types
dominoes
put together. Yeah, it's oh my gosh. Look at that, right?
Yeah.
And so you're drafting these domino type tiles with terrain on them, and ultimately what you're trying to do is match terrain, because the scoring is going to be the number of terrain spaces connected multiplied by the number of crowns in that space. And so the terrain kind of varies, where you have some types where there's a lot of that terrain type but very few crowns that you might find on that terrain type, versus I forget what the really dark one type is called,
like
the mines or something, and there's very few spaces for mines, but when you can find them, there's lots of crowns. But what's cool about this one is the whole drafting mechanism of you know, whoever's first can there's going to be, 4 options, and you choose, do you want the first one, second, third, fourth? And those are ordered in terms of how valuable they are. Like on the back of those tiles, they have a number which tells you kind of how to order them. And so you choose which one you want, but then the order that you select for that draft determines the order that you're going to select tiles for the next one. And that little thing right there is just a really great mechanic, because it's not just what do I want now, it's how valuable is this now versus setting myself up for what could come.
Am
in
I
the next
willing
one.
to pick last, which means not picking, right? You're going to get whatever's left.
Right.
In a 4-player game anyway.
Yeah, and so this one, I mean, a very you are playing your own little puzzle right here. The only interaction is the drafting. So it's very relaxing, very simple. But just has those fun moments. And I love that you can also, if you have 2 copies of the game, you can, or do you need 2 copies to play
You can play 2-player.
2-player. That's right. That's right. Yeah. Cause I was like, I don't have 2 copies, but, if you're playing just 2-player, you can actually do a
7x7 grid.
And that's really fun.
Yeah, it's actually, I think, a huge, besides the fact that the game is cheap and works really well as like a 2 to 4, like to be able to, with 2 players that enjoy the game and want a little bit more, go to that Mighty Duel variant where you have 7x7 is like an even more fun, because like the potential for your multiplication is so much higher.
Yeah, and this is one that you could teach to so easy to teach, and it's one that just as you're playing, the I feel like in this relaxing category is also just vibes. Like the vibes are it's just good and positive, and people are just having fun, getting their tiles and figuring out the best way to play it. So there you go, Ryan. My number 3, King Domino.
Nice.
Which apparently has a connection to Domino.
Apparently, and Kingdoms. This is gonna blow your mind when you look back at it.
My gosh, this is changing.
King Domino did just miss my list, but I strongly considered it. It's a good choice.
Thank you.
My next game, and actually my next 2 games, fall into like a different category of what makes them relaxing. And there was part of me that like almost didn't want to lean in this direction.
No.
But the more I thought about it, the more I was like, it really is true, like that it's fitting the topic. And this is my number 3 is going to be the dexterity game Strike. Now, this is a really quick, have you played Strike?
I think once.
Okay, because I've played it like 170 times, so I can't remember.
Okay, so we've got a similar, we're bringing similar thoughts into
this game plays in like 5 minutes, and it's this game of throwing dice into an arena to try to hit dice and get anything that matches you get to take out, and you're trying to survive, because if you ever lose all your dice, you're knocked out of the round, and it's last person standing is going to win the game. And this one has proven to just be a hit for us in a few different scenarios. One, at just like a casual gathering, because it's very much anybody can play this. It's also so quick that people can sub in and out. You can kind of just mix it up. But also like end of game night, you've maybe played some heavier games and everybody's a little bit tapped out. Might be a good time for a relaxing game, one might say.
Yeah.
This is one that comes out. And a lot of times we'll play it 8-9 times in a row, because everybody's it doesn't take like any brain power. You're kind of chatting and just throwing dice, but it still has these very funny, exciting moments. There's like drama built into, there's enough, there's the whole thing that if you hit the dice and like you take all the dice out because all the dice matched other dice, well, the next player now has to go all in. So instead of just throwing one dice, they have to throw all the dice
that's
in.
such a great rule.
And that, it honestly like makes the game, because there's these moments, there's always the chance for comebacks.
Yeah.
And so this has just found a niche in being pulled out in situations where we just want a really casual but fun, gets people laughing, gets people and very low commitment. Like it's very easy to be like, hey, come try this game. Don't worry, it's only 5 minutes. Like, and if we'll sub out.
If you can't commit to a 5-minute board game, man, like
we played it for a little bit with our almost 90-year-old grandpa. played this
really?
one.
Nice.
Who, we don't teach a lot of new games,
Yeah.
to our grandparents at this point. Well, we're usually going to play a card game or something that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
But we were playing it, and he was kind of watching and joined in, and so it's just fun to have a game that can do that, and that just. From a mental perspective, this game could almost not be more relaxing. Like, you're not doing a whole lot of. There's a little bit of the going off of vibes. Like, there's sometimes where you're just feeling it, right? Like, you do something that maybe isn't like your normal strategy of what you would do, but you're like, I have a feeling I'm gonna get it here.
That's interesting. Yeah, a game that you're not so like, invested in the trying to figure out the best strategy, but you can just ride that vibes wave.
It's fun. It's fun to kind of like, it's the same thing with like sports. I mean, like whether it's like betting on sports or something, just like kind of going with your heart on something,
right?
Because the payoff is higher. Like, because then if it works out and you're just like, I did that, or I picked that. So yeah, it's good fun. Strike. I mean, it is. Of recent games in my collection, actually, this would be a good video for maybe us to do every couple years, is what have been the best new additions to the collection, like from a perspective of things that really just like fill a new niche or something that we didn't have.
Yeah.
Strike has been an absolute home run, as evidenced by how many times I've gotten it.
Well, now
played.
we don't need to make the video.
And there's not very many games that play in 5 minutes.
That's awesome. Yeah, very nice, Ryan. My number 2 we'll see if it's the only crossover. We'll see with my number 1. But you already mentioned it. My love for this game has absolutely shot up. This goes to Seven Wonders Architects. And I totally agree with all you were saying, Ryan. Like, this game, it's just the simple, do I choose the left, the right, the center? It is so relaxing when you play this game. Like, you are just, like, it's just a very... very chill experience, but with fun decision making. And I don't know, it's when games can make such a simple decision, like it is so simple, right? Choose one of the 3 things. Like that does, like you just on the surface, that doesn't even sound fun. Mm-hmm. But it's so fun. And I don't know why. I don't know what
it's varied in what it could be, and then one of them is also unknown. And I think those are just enough variables to make interesting decisions.
And you have a little bit of the group interaction of, sometimes like you get stuck, like there's a thing on the top and neither one of you wants it, but then that's brutal because one of your 3 choices is gone. This, I think, why was this game was it our one? I think it was your number one family game. I mean, it's because it's so accessible, it's so relaxing, and such an enjoyable experience. Plays with a wide number of players. I mean, truly, Ryan, I feel like we just keep glowing on this game. Yeah, but it really is like borderline must have in someone like.
It serves a really it serves that niche really, really well across a lot of players.
It's hard to think of a scenario where a group would. I mean, the only scenario would be a group that just wants something a lot heavier. Like that's really it. But if you have a group that's newer or looking for something light, like I just can't imagine how this wouldn't be one that would go over super well. And I think again that just relaxing experience. It's just everyone is. I just played it recently with a larger group, and everyone is just going around the table, enjoying what's happening. So.
You know who else the other type of person this game is really good for is the type of person who's really bad about thinking about their turn ahead of time. Because there's people that this happens in games that like it gets to their turn and that's when for the first time they like evaluate and you're like, oh my gosh. Like when that happens in these heavier strategic games, you're like, gosh.
This is why whenever I'm playing Twilight Imperium, I take on the role of moderator. And not only do I announce whose turn it is, I go to the next player and say, you're on. I say, you're on deck.
It's very smart. Yeah. Start thinking.
Like, get ready. So,
and I think Seven Wonders Architects definitely lends itself towards people that kind of, because some people's brains, or they just want to socialize more, so they get talking.
Some people's brains.
I mean, it's true. Some people are a little bit more.
I just like that comment.
Overly generalizing in broad strokes, but some people are just a little bit more easily distracted or kind of scatterbrained when it comes to a strategy game. But this one, I mean, you can chat, whatever, and when it gets to your turn, you can immediately look down and look at those 3 cards, and make your decision in the moment.
Right.
So I think that's nice.
It is.
My number 2 is going to stay on the theme that I had with my number 3. This is another dexterity game. And in my estimation, this is the greatest dexterity game of all time. And I don't even think it's that close. This is Crokinole. And Crokinole, I've been playing it a lot lately because my son is into Crokinole. But just when you're playing Crokinole, whereas Strike was like relaxing because it's like, okay, this just doesn't take much from me. There's not a lot of skill in Strike. Crokinole is a pretty skill-based game, and there's a lot of skill shots you need to make. But you get into such a kind of zen, especially in a 2-player game, because your turns are coming back. And so you're just getting to like flick a disc. Wait 5 seconds. Flick a disc. And usually, once you play Crokinole enough, you're very quick to identify like what shot you want to try. So it's like, okay, I want to do this. And you just get into this rhythm and you're just kind of sitting there. And then, you start chatting with the person you're playing with. And it is just, I could sit there and play Crokinole for so long, game after game, and like not get tired of it because the game is so engaging and interesting, but it's so just like laid back in how I'm engaging with it. And there are times where you start to just get into this rhythm where you're just hitting shots and you're just kind of in the zone. And then you'll kind of go out of the, you'll kind of get into a funk for a little bit, but then get back into the zone. And I just find, especially when I've been playing it so much recently, I've been reminded, I was like, man, I just love this game. And it's just it's such a great laid back experience. While still, because usually more laid back means that we're also pulling back skill. We're probably leaning more into luck or lighter decisions. But that is not the case in Crokinole. Like, you are playing a game that is like, I mean, you could argue it has no luck. It's literally physics, right? Like, there's not random elements
I don't know.
this.
Sometimes my finger just makes this random pew.
Is that luck, though? Or
That's
is
luck.
That just,
I don't know
just
what
the
happened.
player? And so, it strikes a really good balance there. And I've played it a ton and have not tired of it at all. If anything, have grown to love it more.
Ryan, this is the one that I'm going to disagree with most on your list because I think you just have a tainted lens because you're the one that's always winning. Like, of course, this is relaxing for you. I'm over here just getting beat down and getting shut out. And I'm like, this is the least relaxing experience of my life.
So I suppose it's when the even players, or you're on the side that you're better. I have not often found myself on the side that Daniel's describing. I need to be humbled a little bit in Crokinole because I haven't played, people that actually. I'm usually the one introducing it to somebody, and there's definitely going to be a skill gap.
Yeah,
I need to go play some good
tournament
Crokinole
or something.
Yeah, just get absolutely just decimated, and then come back and be like, okay, I know my place in the Crokinole world.
This isn't as relaxing as I remember. Very nice, Ryan. Okay, my number 1. This will be interesting, Ryan. I'm kind of curious what yours is. This was actually, I almost feel like there's a gap. Like, to me, this one, and part of it was when I thought about this list, I thought about what is the game that at the end of a game night is like maybe a go-to, and just this is.
I know what you're gonna say, and I'm actually thinking I should have considered it. I don't think
Well, we'll see. We'll see. So. And this is one that has been that it is just so relaxing / enjoyable from a just social interaction experience. My number 1 is going to go to Lovecraft Letter. When I thought about this, Ryan, it is such a relaxing game to play because it is, you draw a card and you pick one to play. And it's, ultimately to win the game, to win the round, you either need to knock everyone else out or be the last one standing with the highest card. And Lovecraft Letter, has a few things around, little extra twists
Going
around
insane
kind of
and
all that stuff around the love letter formula. But even we played a lot of love letter, too. This is just the version that we like most. But that it is so just a simple play a card, and whether it's you're playing I'm going to get the different types. The one, and you're guessing, like just making a guess of what you think someone is, even if it's blind, and then you get them, and then it's like,
The rounds are so quick.
They're so quick. It plays fast. There's just, and yet there's fun and exciting moments that happen. Like even still, we've played it a lot, and there's still just interesting situations that happen within such a limited card select.
Yeah, I mean, I would say we kind of like tapped that out a little in the original love letter. Because we played it probably 50, 60 times.
Right.
And probably got to the point where it's like, okay, we've seen about every interesting scenario that the system is capable of. Lovecraft Letter really opened it up a little bit more for us by adding these alternate insane versions of cards. And you'll go many games with not seeing a particular insane effect applied.
Yeah.
Which is kind of fun.
And I think the reason it goes to the top is that limited card selection. Like it is, we pull it at the end of a game night. Maybe you've played something heavy. Your brain's a little tired, and these are just so familiar. And you don't even have to like. There's not much processing that needs to happen on like what does this do. Like once you've played this game multiple times, that. And so we can just have this enjoyable 2 cards, play one, knocking each other out, just this fun group experience. And it just goes around the table. It plays quick, like you said. So even if you get knocked out of a round, the next round's going to start in the next, minute or two. Like rounds move fast. And it just is an incredibly relaxing, enjoyable experience. And so this for me, honestly, was the one that, again, I just relaxing when I thought about it through the lens of like, what is that go-to at the just end when you truly want a relaxing experience to finish the night. This was the one that came to the top. So that's my number 1. Lovecraft Letter.
Nice. I'm glad you included it because
thank you.
In hindsight, I think I would have. I think if I'd thought about this one more, it probably would have made my top 5. I don't know where, but it is a good point. Like it has so been like, particularly when we're thinking about like oftentimes our more gamer group that spent the day playing some heavier games. This is kind of the relaxing ending one. And it's one that's so easy to set up and play again.
Oh, so fast.
Like you're never in your mind thinking like, oh, do I have another game in me of this? Right. Like you're like, yeah, sure. Like, do we have time? We can do it. I like that pick for what it's worth. So Lovecraft Letter, I think has been out of print. They just announced, maybe it's out already, a new edition that I think is called Love Letter Arkham.
Oh my gosh. They just got to stick to something, man.
And it's basically a remaking of this version. So a lot of the things are the same, but they've tweaked some things, which I was reading the like design diary. And one of the things that they talked about was like, there's a lot of ambiguity with like discard and when things do effects. And I'm like, yeah, there is.
Did they fix the rulebook?
So I think they made it way more clear, which is really good because this game was almost hard to recommend.
Yeah, maybe that's why you kept it off the list because the rulebook is not relaxing. I'll say.
Yeah. It's not relaxing when you have to go there and be like, I don't know how this situation. Like we got to the point where we kind of like decided this is how things work. Or we looked it up, but somebody just going from the rulebook could struggle. But they also added some new things and changed some things. So there's part of me that's like, ooh, it'd be, maybe it's worth replacing, but it's also like, man, I do love these nice poker chips that are in the Lovecraft because I don't think they're the full poker chips. I think it's different. So I think the production value, which probably makes sense to bring the price point down a little bit, but I do love those nice poker chips. And it's enough the same that it's hard to justify. But I can now probably strongly recommend this new edition. I'll probably put it on our website board game recommendation guide that's probably linked in the description below. Because I think I left Lovecraft Letter off, partly because it wasn't available and partly because it's a little hard to recommend. Some might say hesitant to recommend. We should have included in that video.
I know.
My number 1 has not been mentioned. unsurprisingly, you've only played it one time. But this is a game that almost skirts the line of like, is this going too far to relaxing? Is it going too loose with like the game that like there's not going to be enough to dig your teeth into here? Okay. But my experiences with it have been very positive so far.
I think I know what this is.
And this is Dorfromantik, the board game. And so Dorfromantik, it's kind of a tile laying game, kind of like Carcassonne or something, but it's fully cooperative. The tiles are these hexagons. And on your turn, you're drawing a tile, and you as a group are all just kind of deciding where it should go in your growing landscape. And there's different things you're trying to do. You're trying to like, make a long railroad and a long river, but then there's these task tokens that come out. And so there might be like a forest one that comes out on a forest task tile and says like 5. And that means you need to grow that forest section to be exactly 5, and then that task will score. If you accidentally overshoot it because you like connect two things, it would be bad. You actually wouldn't complete it. But then you get that task, and then you get to bring out a new task tile. So there will always be like 3 tasks on the board that you're working on. And literally the game is just like a get the best score game, which normally is like not what I'm looking for in a co-op game. Like I'm much a bigger fan of like, give me a win-loss condition. And you could say like, there's some threshold for what is winning.
Right.
The way they kind of make it more compelling with the score is that after every game, there's actually this legacy element that you unlock new things, and that helps raise the ceiling of what you could score. So over multiple games, you're like driving up how high you can score, and you're beating your high scores because you have more opportunities. But the actual playing of this game, sitting around, it's almost like working on like a jigsaw puzzle together.
Maybe that's why I didn't like it.
But like, there's objectives. I'm not the biggest fan of just, I don't mind puzzles. The problem is almost any situation where I would play a jigsaw puzzle, I also could be playing a board game, and I'm going to pick board game pretty much every single time. But it's got that feel of we're kind of working together and putting out these things. Everybody's, involved on everybody's turn to as much as they want to be, kind of discussing what should happen. And then you have the satisfaction of seeing it build up and like these things, and you have different tasks that you're working on. But it like, you can't get much more laid back than this.
I would agree with that.
There's maybe like a little tension with like, oh man, we like need to complete we're behind with like getting these tasks
going. Your heart rate might spike to 80.
Slightly, yeah. You might come slightly out of that catatonic state to realize that something's happening on the board. But I have to say, and that was why I was hesitant to get this game, is I was like, man, is it really? I feel like I need more. But it has just gone over really, really well, and I've had a good time with it. And like have been wanting to bring it out with other groups and show it. So especially if you want like something kind of cooperative puzzly and you want to be relaxed, I think this is the game for you. And it's very rewarding over multiple plays because you get to explore new content. It slowly gives you more things to kind of think about. You get these, there's these like flags that come out that you put a flag on a section. At the end of the game, it's going to score for the size of that section, but only if that section's completely closed. Yeah. So it's got kind of this push your luck of, we want to make it really big, but we better close it by the end of the game. So that kind of stuff's fun. Yeah, it's maybe too relaxing for some people. I mean, this game will definitely fall flat for some people.
I was not the biggest fan of it. I think part of it is just like cooperative games for me are the fun is the discussion around just like really tense or like well, we could do this, and it felt so simple that it almost in turn, and maybe I was just like tired. I think I was tired that night too, but
I think you were.
But it led to just kind of like, well, I don't know, it's not a hard enough decision, so why should I even like contribute in the discussion? There are a lot of
times where it's pretty clear like where might be the best place. So I will say, in my games so far, there's been a lot of times where we're considering something and somebody is like, wait a second, what if we did it here, and like that would actually set this up? So there's those moments.
I feel like I'd prefer it a smaller player count.
I think so too. You played in like a 6-player game, which is not really the ideal, but it was kind of a fun way to show the group that was there and kind of hang out and play it. Yeah, I think it's much better with a smaller group where you're getting more turns and you're kind of more involved in the discussion. The other thing, and this is maybe why I was a little hesitant to show it to you, is so much of the appeal of the game is game to game and like getting the new things. And so you don't get to see any of that with just a one-off.
Yeah.
But you looked relaxed over there playing it all.
I think I was falling asleep.
If that isn't evidence enough. But yeah, those are our lists. Those are some relaxing games. And actually, I don't know that we had one crossover.
Yeah, only one.
So we gave you a good batch of relaxing games to check out for yourself, and let us know what relaxing games we should maybe be checking out.
Well, if you've met with your doctor recently and they recommend lowering your heart rate, we got links to all of these very relaxing games down below. I'm sure that will be of assistance in your health journey. And we have more videos, which will also be an assistance in your health journey, bringing you joy as you learn more about all the amazing board games that are out there. We will see you in the next one.